broadcasting live out of a basement in Appleton, Wisconsin. You're tuned into Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're the show that gives you an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Our call-in line is 920-358-0795. Core.
All right, my next guests, they're no strangers to the show. This is their third appearance over the last 3 years, which is a record if you're keeping count. Wow. It's the latest release is still called Lion's Share.
It's true. Nothing new.
But they've got some shows coming up, so I'm really glad that we've got them on today. I'd like to welcome Jon and Zach back to Fox Cities Core.
Very much appreciate being the record holders in the clubhouse. Love it.
That's, you know what, it's so when you put it all together, that's going to be like 3 hours of conversation with us. If people didn't see the previous two and they want to know about Ifdakar, can you give me a brief kind of summary on how you would kind of describe the band?
Still active. We have been around for, next summer will be 17 years for us, I believe. A lot of lineup changes throughout the mix, but throughout it all, it's been me, Kurt Bees on guitar and synthesizers, Zach here, Zach Chisholm on bass. Us three have been the ones that have been in the band since the beginning, and currently Todd Van Evenhoven is on the drums. He's been with us for like 4 years now. It's crazy to think that, and Logan Deere has been playing keyboards with us for a while. We do a lot of original music. We try to do some fun covers that kind of maybe you wouldn't expect, and kind of change them into our own style. When people don't know about the band and they ask me to explain it, if I only have, an elevator pitch, I'll say it's like Pink Floyd with a dance beat. That's kind of how I describe it. We kind of get a little, psychedelic, shady, and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we're a rock band, and we like to see the dance floor full. So we try to combine some of those elements to make it a real high energy, enjoyable experience. We want people out there getting down. That's the deal. It's a party,
I like that. Ifdakar is a party. If you haven't checked out an Ifdakar show, you guys do fill the dance floor, and people, it's music you can dance to and boogie to. Boogie. Yeah. Can you use that word yet?
Sure.
But so you're here to talk about some shows that are coming up. I don't know if you want to kind of get into it now or if you want to wait a little bit.
Sure. What's up next? What do we have?
See you next Friday.
Saturday.
Next Saturday. We're playing with Feed the Dog, and Tyler Shea and Timmy Mack will be opening the show. It'll be an Ice Dance pre-party.
So, Appleton Beer Factory.
Yeah.
So that's a pre-party for the festival Ice Dance, which we can get into in a little bit. But the pre-party, so the deal with that is we have this festival in February called Ice Dance. It's at the Paper Valley Hotel. But before that, we're going to do a pre-party at Appleton Beer Factory where we're going to raffle off some tickets for the main festival. We're going to have exclusive festival merch available, and we have one big festival announcement that we're going to make live from the stage at the pre-party. So I know it can get a little convoluted, like you're having a party for the party. Yeah, that's what we do. We party. So so that's what we're doing. But it should be a great crowd. Tickets are available online. WeJam.net is the best place for that. But otherwise, fee-free tickets are available at the Beer Factory. At the pre-party, we will have fee-free tickets for Ice Dance proper, for the festival we'll have available at the pre-party. Because those fees are crazy these days when you buy tickets online. So,
can you tell me what the surprise is today?
I can't. It's earth-shattering, though. You have to be there to hear it.
Earth-shattering, I like it.
Earth-shattering.
Well, let's talk about ticket fees.
Sure.
So when you're selling tickets to an event in the area, do you find that people are kind of sometimes turned off by ticket fees?
Yeah, and we try our best. We actually switch ticket companies. We now work with Afton Tickets, and they're one of the more reasonable servicers out there. Percentage-wise, it's lower than what we were using with Eventbrite. And I love the service, but the fees are the fees, regardless of the percentage that is being, passed on to the customer.
Yeah, they wouldn't have a service without those fees.
Right. So, but, I can't speak highly enough about Afton. It's just that when people are buying a ticket, for a $10 show or a $15 show, and then all of a sudden it's $18.99 or whatever, then, in your mind as a consumer, you're like, well, that's $20. So right. Why do I buy early when I could just go to the door and pay for a $20 ticket? And then when you have a majority of the people waiting until the day of the show, that can decrease your draw overall because people get sick, people get, they don't want to go out. It could be bad weather, you name it. So ideally, having people be able to grab a ticket ahead of time helps just the health of the show in general. So for us, getting those hard tickets into Appleton Beer Factory and other places helps us do that at a lower cost to the customer. So
Sam Phillips says, "Awesome job."
Thanks, Sammy.
Well, so in Appleton Beer Factory, obviously no stranger to Appleton Beer Factory. You guys
Right.
have played there quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, is that kind of it's almost like your home base?
Yeah, at this point, we for years played at the Cold Shot. We really, kind of cut our teeth, I guess, there, and then we were operating out of Cranky Pat's for a while, and then it was the Mill Creek or the Bent Keg, and now, we've been doing this so long that you see fans come and go, you see venues come and go. Right now, in this, this musical ecosystem of Appleton, I don't know that there's a more happening music venue in the entire Fox Cities, honestly. Mark's doing great stuff over there, and so for us to have such a good relationship with him and be able to do these things, it's so helpful because I know there's tons of bands out there that would kill to be able to just call him up and say, hey, can we do this event there? And he says, yeah, sure. We don't take that for granted at all.
Well, you guys work pretty close with the venues you play, and I think you understand the whole one hand washes the other. You mentioned a lot of venues where music kind of shifted through, but I feel that you guys are one of the bands that wants to see the venue come out okay as well as the band, because that it's sort of like it's sort of a circle of everybody's got to stay in business in a way.
Right. Yeah. I mean that's the whole deal. When, to be frank, when we got the word from the Bent Keg that they were going to stop doing the music, part of their calculus was, well, we're having people walk up just that are hanging out on the Ave, and you guys have a show going on and there's a cover charge. Well, we're missing out on this business of these people that just want to walk up and down the Ave and go to a bar and dance. They don't care who's playing. They don't care if it's just music being played on the PA. So for them and what they were trying to do, the aesthetics of their business model and what we were doing were kind of at odds. So we amicably said, we'll find a different place and you guys can do what you envision for your place. And that's okay because, like you said, everybody needs to succeed or nobody succeeds. We've never been the type of band that would go into a place and get paid and leave the venue hanging. That time in Stevens Point, I think we played. I think it was the Elbow Room, maybe. No, Main Street Taps. It was, and it was snowstorm or something like that, and it was a very dead night. But our guarantee was relatively high. We gave a big chunk of it back to the owner. We said, we're not taking this. I know we came all the way out here to play, but there's nobody here. You're gonna lose your butt if we take this money from you. So.
If anything, they probably remember that if you want to play there again.
Yeah. He did sell the place not too long. But still, our heart was in the right place.
So the ice dance pre-party, which is coming up 11/25. So it's something, it seems you do that every year or something similar. You have been.
Yeah.
But that you guys have like some banner shows every year that kind of take place, and we can kind of talk about them during the next 50 minutes or so. But this one, like, would you rate this one pretty high as far as anticipation from your fans that this is like a can't miss event every year? And you probably have a lot of people that are home for the holidays that also come out. So it's probably like a family reunion in some aspects.
Yeah, and honestly, what happens for us is when we finish our summer schedule, we basically shut it down until this one. So for us, this is not only, home for the holidays, and we've done it in various forms. This being the pre-party, it probably will end up being this year after year moving forward, just based on where Ice Dance lies and, the fact that Ice Dance is in Appleton now and everything. But in general, this Ifdakar hometown holiday party, it serves as us getting back at it after taking the break after our summer schedule, which is always pretty hectic. But like you said, we don't tour. We basically play our 10, 12 marquee shows a year, and those are pretty much set in stone with a few variables in there. But it's nice for us, and it's easier for us than trying to seek out gigs. We kind of know what our yearly schedule is going to be. So like you said, this one is, it's coming. We always know it's coming, and it is a big deal. It's the first time that we get to see everybody as Ifdakar since the summer, and it's always special. We're really looking forward to it. We got a bunch of new music, which is not something that we say all the time.
Yeah, those breaks give us some time to work on some stuff. So
yeah.
Well, you're playing with Feed the Dog, which it seems like you've been doing a lot of events with that band. Is that sort of, I don't know, your yin yang?
Well, they are, so, how do I say? We put on Ice Dance with Feed the Dog, so they're the hosts of that festival. So we worked with Tim and the guys from Feed the Dog a lot over the years. So we were planning on doing the 1125 by ourselves, and we were like, okay, well, we should get maybe a local opener or figure something out. And Mark from ABF actually suggested it. He said, why don't you do it with Feed the Dog, do a pre-party? Oh, usually those are the kind of ideas that we have. You know what I mean? We must be slipping, and he's the one, his wheels are turning always. So we asked him, and those guys are super busy. Like, those guys just got signed by an agency, and, they're out on the road, and they're doing big things. So the fact that they were available and it didn't conflict with any of their other Fox Valley plays was pretty fortuitous. So we, grabbed it and ran with it, and I would expect it to be a, near capacity night, if not a sellout.
And what does it take to put on a big event like this? I know you've got sponsors.
Sure. So for Ice Dance, which is February 8th through the 10th at Paper Valley Hotel, and that one is, so this will be the second year of Ice Dance. The first year we did it in Green Lake at the Heidel House.
Kind of jinxing yourself with calling it the Ice Dance in January, I think.
Well, there was a lot of debate about what we were going to call it when we were first developing the idea, but we settled on Ice Dance, and I think it works. It's got to now. But so it was a great success in Green Lake. And after that year, we were getting ready for year 2, and the opportunity presented itself to come here to Appleton with it, to the Paper Valley. And, we had to. It's like, this is our home base. How cool to bring this really neat event here to Appleton. So we talked to Linda over at the Paper Valley, and we got rolling. Rooms are, I don't know, like 30% sold out for the entire weekend. Where tickets are flying off the shelves. The VIP tickets are like halfway sold out.
What do you get with a VIP ticket?
You get a commemorative not backstage, but VIP pass. There's a VIP lounge with select hospitality, snacks and beer and stuff like that. There's a VIP seating area, a special VIP check-in, and commemorative VIP merchandise.
Nice.
Yeah, and so tickets are going really good and all of that, and we did reach out to some people for sponsorships because it's, these are big undertakings, like you said, so having capital to be able to use to get the ball rolling. So of course We Jam is a big one, Appleton Beer Factory, and then some local sponsors from Graham Images LLC. He's a photographer in the area. Executive Mortgage LLC up in Green Bay. Justin Scott is our buddy, and he does great stuff with real estate up there. Camps Bar and Grill here in Combined Locks, the best little bar in the world right there. Carrie Van Dre, Powell, Century 21, Ace Realty, The Hive out of Fond du Lac, and Open Range Southwest Grill. And they're out of Sugar Grove, Illinois. So they approached us just like the Hive in Fond du Lac did. They wanted to be involved.
That's great.
Yeah. So, what we'll do for these places that actually have storefronts is send them tickets to be able to sell to their people, again, for no fees, so that they can be involved in some way. And then, of course, they'll come up to the event themselves. And the sponsorship packages are cool. Some of them include rooms. The lower level ones, you get tickets and VIP stuff and all sorts of things like this, like coming on the air and mentioning brand names.
That's a lot of stuff to sort out. Like,
You're telling me
it's way more than your typical like, hey, let's just book a show and go play it.
Yes, that's one thing. I was talking to a friend of mine who's in a newer band, and he came over the other day, and he's like, I just don't even know how to do shows. Like, how do I even develop this stuff? And I'm like, you just got to build it, like, don't stand around and wait for somebody to hand you something. Build it yourself, get a group of bands together and say, hey, we're going to bring this show to Cold Shot or Cranky Pat's or whatever. And, trade shows and build shows, make things bigger, or, make them seem bigger than they are. And then eventually that starts to snowball. And then eventually you have a desk filled with paperwork that you have to sort through to be able to. But honestly, that's how you do it. You don't stand around and wait for your chance. You make your chance.
I like the fact that you're touching on that, because I get a lot of questions from up-and-coming bands. How do I get a show? How do I get started? It feels like I'm spinning my wheels, but I think that's good advice. You need to get out there and network. Is that something that the band collectively likes to do, or are you the one in the band that kind of does all the footwork with reaching out?
Me and Kurt Kurt is, we should bring him in next time. It's awfully early for him, but you'd have a hoot with him. He and I are kind of the networkers. I kind of do the clerical stuff. Zach is in charge of like technology type stuff. Anytime we need, something to do with, our in-house monitoring system or, recording software, stuff like that, Zach is, he's the guy for that. But yeah, as far as shaking hands, kissing babies, that's Kurt. And then I kind of do the, the behind the scenes, clerical legwork, I guess, if you will.
Matt Hawkins says, "Nice work, fellas."
Oh, nice. Thanks, Matty.
So, do you remember when you started the band? I mean, is it easy to think back to being that fresh, trying to get the band off the ground? Because you guys have had the changes. Do you feel you're at a place now where you're finally able to breathe a little bit?
What do you think?
I don't know if the kids will let us breathe at all. But
yeah. Well, it's so we had something happen at the end of our spring run last year. So we played a pretty substantial spring schedule, and we always take a break between spring and right before the summer starts, the end of spring, whatever. So we had talked about getting into the studio again, and we had all these new music ideas and everything, and all of a sudden our keyboardist sent us an email and said he was done. And he's a very busy guy, so, and I don't want to step in it or speak for anyone right now, but it shocked us. We asked, can you play through the summer? We have all these marquee shows booked, and he wasn't interested in doing that. So at that point, yes, we felt like we could breathe and we were ready to make new music and like we were set. And then all of a sudden we're on our heels again. Yeah. And him and our drummer Todd, he is they're very close. So we thought, geez, we could lose both of these guys, right now. So we had to then circle the wagons and figure out how we were going to make it through the summer. We had some friends help us out. We had Eric Juvenin from Feed the Dog, Timmy Mack from Feed the Dog, Matt Williams from Steez, Logan Deere, who's playing with us now. Who else did we have sit in?
Pretty much it. Wasn't it?
Pretty much it. I think I'm forgetting one person, and I feel like a dink. But yeah, we had a bunch of friends help us out throughout the summer, and some of those were the most memorable shows, that we've ever done. So getting past that, and I got to give a lot of credit to Todd, the drummer, since those two were so close. I thought, he's out of here. But Todd said, I committed to these shows. I'm not going to leave you guys high and dry. I'm going to play through the summer, then I'm going to see how I feel and how everything feels. And at this point, it doesn't seem like he's planning on going anywhere, which is really great, because we're really starting to gel. And I know he's been in the group for like 4 years now, but it really feels like we're starting to get, the hang of where each other are going, in terms of improvisation and strengths, weaknesses, things like that. So even though it's hectic with all the events that we do and all the legwork that needs to be done and bringing people up to speed on the music and just lives, with kids and everything else and jobs, I do feel like we're in a good place right now where we are in a situation where we have some breathing room, where there's not a lot of expectations because we do control our own destinies. So we have the ability to write at our own pace, play shows at our own pace. And I think that kind of low level of stress is starting to come through in the music. We're not feeling so rushed, and that translates, not everything has to be balls to the wall crazy in terms of life or in terms of our music. We can kind of take a breath, slow it down, and then, let those peaks happen. It's metaphor and literal sense.
Yeah, and if we're having fun, the crowd's having fun.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. If we're all standing up there like just concerned about everything that's going on in our lives and in the band, that's not good for the product, obviously.
Right.
And right now, everybody's getting along really well. The stuff that we're playing, like I said, has a lot more of a vibe to it. We're giving the music room to breathe, and we're giving each other room to breathe, I believe.
Melissa Horn says, amazing, guys.
Hey, hi, Missy.
Then I think your bandmate Todd, he says, I ain't going nowhere.
I was wondering
That's
if he was
awesome.
listening.
Attaboy, Toddler. That's the moose right there.
Thanks for the comments, and keep them coming. If you've got a question for the guys, you guys are open to answering questions,
absolutely.
right? That's part of the fun.
Part of the deal.
Whip them
An
out.
open book.
So we talked about the show coming up on the 25th, and we talked about the ice dance coming up in January. No,
February is the ice dance. The pre-party's next Saturday. It's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, and there's kind of some other shows we're going to be talking about coming up as well. But you were going to tell us the big announcement from the 25th.
No, you almost got me there.
Sneaky.
That'd try. Maybe I'll try a couple more times. But so, as far as the songwriting, you said you're working on some new tunes. Last time you had a really unique experience going to Minnesota and recording some of the Lion's Share. Are you going to be
Michigan, actually.
Michigan?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the same state. Kidding. But okay, you went to Michigan and recorded that, so it was sort of like an experience recording. Are you going to do like an experience recording on the new stuff, or are you going to stay kind of closer to Appleton this time and record it around here? Have you thought that far ahead yet?
No, I don't know.
I don't think we've thought that far ahead. I know there's options in the area, obviously. What I would like to do, and if there's somebody out there listening that can provide this for us, by all means, contact us. I would like a scenario where we can pour over the tracks ourselves and fine detail. Because what I find sometimes that's lost is you record, especially when somebody's, being an engineer that's really hands-on. they kind of take it then from there, and they're doing the mix and stuff. So then you give the notes, but sometimes the engineer doesn't like the notes, and it's like, well, I don't care if you don't like it. It's my song, So I would like the ability to be able to sit there and like detail every single measure. Now, if you are traveling to Niles, Michigan to to record for 2 days, you don't have time to do that. Now, if you find a studio in Appleton that you can afford, where you can sit there for 8 hours a day for a week, well, then you're talking. I think we all have a lot of great ideas in terms of arrangements or additions, subtractions for songs, but you don't always have the time. And I think when we give each other the time to be able to express our ideas, that's when we really find the great stuff. It's when we feel pressured, when we feel rushed, that probably the best ideas don't come from us. We just, we're old men at this point. We need time. Just give me a minute.
And this is a big one. This is a biggie because it's a 10-year anniversary.
Yes. So as people may or may not know, we do the Moon Dance Festival, and this is our 10th festival. It's actually year 11, but of course COVID is the lost year. So this is our 10th year. We're still up in Anago at the MC Festival's grounds. We've just started kind of working on the lineup a little bit. There's not a lot I can say because I don't want to say something and then people later on say, well, you say, But, okay, so it's a 10th year anniversary. We're going to celebrate those 10 years, more or less. A lot of years we kind of went real big with national acts, and, that really is a drain on resources. Not that we're not interested in some bigger names, just it's a heavy burden. And I think for our 10th year, our focus will more or less be on the friends and family that have gotten us to 10 years. So maybe a less broad view and more of a internal view of who we are as people, who are our friends and things like that. But one thing I can say is we're going to have both stages going this year. Last year we just went to the one stage. So more or less we're going to have bands inside the bar stage. If people have been there, they know what I'm talking about. If they haven't, they're going to have to come and figure it out. But the bar stage is under this giant pavilion. And we'll have music going in there all day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then, as we get closer to evening, the big stage that faces outside into the big field, that'll go live. So, and then we'll go late night back inside by the bar stage. So that's one thing that I can share with everybody.
Well, tickets for that are over half sold already. Is that true?
Yeah, we do early bird release, so it's $110 right now. That's the lowest price that you can pay, and I've got, I think, 8 of those left right now, and then it'll move on to $120, and then there's an amount of those left, and then it's the $120 pre-sale up until gates. So. Well, whatever. Go buy a ticket. It's a lot to sort out, like you said.
You're probably taking them as they come, too. Obviously, the immediate concern is the show next week, and then you kind of worry about the show in February and then June.
Well, there's more information out on the interwebs. If you really want to know
the Moon Dance is at the end of July. So one thing that we do have that I can share with everybody for the first time is on June 22nd we'll be doing for the first time Soul Dance Music Festival at Jones Park here in Appleton. That's going to be free and open to the public. We've done Soul Dance several times in the past, but it's always been ticketed. So this year it's free and open to the public thanks to our friends at Fox Communities Credit Union. They're the presenting partner. We've got help from We Jam, of course, Appleton Beer Factory, Valley Management. So what this is I'm working with the Heart of the Valley Lions Club. So once the event expenses are all paid for, we're going to fundraise for something the Lions do called Stuff the Bus, and that is to help childhood poverty in the area. So we'll take, I need to generate money to pay for the event, and then we fundraise. A portion of the beer sales and White Claw sales will go to that fundraiser. 50% of generated profits will come to that. Any sponsorships or grants after the event expenses are paid for will all go to that. Our friends at Valley Management Inc., they agreed to pay the cost of the Jones Park rental. Like I said, Fox Communities is on board as the title sponsor. I'm still looking for a bunch of local sponsors in the area to help us get this event paid for. And, obviously Ifdakar is going to be one of the bands playing. We haven't really talked a whole lot about filling out the rest of that lineup, but we'll have music down there from 3 p.m. till 10. Food trucks, various different stuff. Appleton Beer Factory, beer on sale, White Claw. Just a good, fun day for the whole family. And like I've said, we used to do that as a ticketed deal. And, Jones Park, people go down those giant steps and they get to the bottom where we're sitting there taking ticket money. And they're like, we just wanted to come to the park. Sorry, but this time we don't have to worry about that. Everybody can come and, hopefully it'll be a great day down at the park and, raise some money for a good cause.
So much music in Appleton. It's a great time to be alive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Sierra Ann says, what's an Ifdakar?
Yeah, so that's you're grounded, young lady.
Oh, Sam Phillips responded and said, don't worry if the car isn't broke, don't fix.
If the car's broke. Ifdakar, for people that don't know, was the name of one of our high school classmates. He was a couple years older than us. And we couldn't come up with a name for the band. And Kurt thinks that he came up with it, and our buddy Adam Van Langdon thinks that he came up with it. So there's some, historical debate about that. But I found out a couple years ago that the man Ifdakar, who lives in Milwaukee, is like a neurosurgeon or some such. He found out, or he knows that we named our band after him, and he's not happy. He does not like it. He's more of a REO Speedwagon type of guy, I guess. Nothing against REO Speedwagon. I don't want to get in any trouble. I've had enough of that.
Brad Bordini says Kool-Aid Man is a sweet track.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. That's one of the oldest ones. That was on our first album. When did we do that one?
12 or 11.
10.
I love the fact you guys have been around long enough you can't remember.
Yeah.
Our first keyboardist, Rick Ifdakar, he wrote that song, and still to this day, I mean, that's like the first original song that we had, and still to this day, we play it pretty much every night just because it slaps so hard. The ending is just so good. We have to force ourselves to not play it. We're like, okay, let's, because our fans will say that to us, like, you guys sure play that a lot. It's like, what do you want from us? It's so good.
Still no litigious activity around the name of that.
Who's doing the set lists for most of the shows? Does somebody have the job of putting together the set list?
Kurt has that job. But if he doesn't get it to us in time, because a bunch of us like to have it like early in the week of show week so we can work on it on our own. So if we don't get it by Monday, Tuesday, I'll do it myself. But we tend to think in the same kind of patterns. So
from time to time, we'll put it up on the board and do it in practice or whatever.
Yeah, like Zach says, if we have time, we'll develop it on in the room, but sometimes we don't get around to it because, again, we're old men. We move slow.
And then kind of to jump back a little bit to kind of a little bit ago, this was Lion's Share. with that great artwork. Now,
Yeah.
last time you were here, you went into detail about the artwork, and so if people want to, they can go to the Fox Cities Core YouTube page and check out when you guys were here last year to hear that story. I mean, any ideas besides the songs you're working on and where you're going to record it? I mean, this would be the fun part right here is doing that artwork. I mean, this is going to be a hard bar to get above. You set the bar pretty high on this.
Yeah, Zach actually is the one that does not the artwork, but the artwork of putting together the what do you call
the graphic design or the layout of the.
Yeah,
it's the back right there.
That photo was done by Graham.
Yep.
Graham Images. Yeah,
and I still forgot to put his name on there. So
Well,
so sorry, Graham. If everyone's wondering who took that picture, that's all over the interweb.
Well, you know what we can talk too? Let's talk about, since you forgot to put Graham's name in here, he's got a place called the Photo Op. That's kind of down by, it's right off Drew Street in Appleton. But if people are interested in photography, they had an open house last week. And
Did you go to that?
Yeah, I was blown away by that place. They just lots of opportunities for classes. So if you're interested in anything about like not real photography, but like real film photography. Like
they have like a dark room there and everything too,
Yeah,
right? and places to shoot. They do like photo walks, so you can walk along with them and get hints and learn how to use your camera more. And
it looks like they've got a class in a couple weeks that's being co-taught by John Adams, and it's if you haven't been there, go check it out. They're online. I think they've got a list of the classes and stuff. But so Graham obviously knows what he's doing and did your artwork. Do you think he would take shots for you guys again?
Oh yeah. Actually, he is going to his photo op group. Well, we haven't inked any deal yet, but we're in talks to have his photo op group, come to Soul Dance, the one in Jones Park, and use that as a teachable moment. However he sees fit, and he'd be a sponsor on the event.
Well, that's great because concert photography isn't as easy as just pointing and shooting. I mean,
exactly. And that was the idea. After they did that event at Gibson a couple of weeks ago, Logan actually mentioned to me. He said, "You guys know Graham pretty well. You ever work with him on something like that?" And ding, like, why don't we get him involved on the Soul Dance, because that thing is going to require community support, just in general, to work. It's all well and good. You can put on an event, but if nobody knows about it, nobody's intrigued by it, nobody supports the cause, you're going to be standing down there with 30 people, and it's going to suck. So,
and then you're not going to be able to do it next year as well. So
exactly. So bringing in other people that are doing positive things in the community is obviously a important part of all that.
And Graham's grown up with us too. He's taken every one of our promo photos pretty much throughout the years, and we're kind of not sure if we should take another one with the new band members, because every time we do, we seem to lose a member. So
it's a kiss of death.
Well, no, I know Fish is a big influence for both of you.
Right.
Are you guys kind of following the vein of Fish in the aspect of like recording all your shows? Do you guys record all your live shows for possible future release?
We try, and that falls on Zach, and again, that's a huge undertaking. So
if there's any interns out there that want to come out and help me out.
Does that kind of get a little rough worrying about that, and also worrying about getting your rig set up and ready?
There's a lot of times it doesn't happen because I'm trying to get everything else set up, and but.
Yeah, are you still playing the 20-string bass?
I'm up to 70 now.
No, we have a lot of concerts recorded, but they kind of sit, and not every one of them is fit for consumption due to microphone issues or you name it. But we want to do more of that, and getting after all these years, one thing that we've realized is a lot of people that have even seen us over the years don't know the names of our songs, don't really know them other than, just in passing. So being able to get at least some live material, because that's where we live, is on stage. We've been doing this 17 years. We have 3 studio albums. That's not a great, breakdown. So for us to be able to get some live stuff out there is definitely on our mind and something we're working toward in some capacity.
Might have to take some AI to some of those old recordings and
Whatever
see
it takes.
if we can pull a Beatles song out of our head.
Well, let's talk about AI, but first, I'm really falling behind on some of the chat here. Ryan Engelhardt just thumbs up. Len Nelson, the legendary
the
Len
legend.
Nelson, he says the moon dance is magic, and he loves the new direction for soul dance. So that's some pretty good feedback there.
Thank you, Len.
Do you guys think Len should start doing a show on Code Zero Radio?
Yes.
I think like even though it's streaming radio, we need Len. Len needs to be he's a voice for the music in this area. He needs to be back on the air. Where he can
I can't agree with that anymore. Yes.
So AI, what do you think of the Beatles song? That's like
I'm not going on radio, streaming or not, and hating on the Beatles, man. You can't make me.
When that song came out, that was like the big YouTube thing. You know, all of a sudden there's like a 1,000 covers of that song. Like everybody's covering it, and it was just crazy because. And I'll just speak for myself. Like it's an okay song, but since it's the Beatles, it's like all of a sudden a great song.
Yeah.
So it's number 10 on the charts right away, right?
Yeah, that's nuts. And so you mentioned AI to clean up some of the concert stuff. I mean, are you opposed? Like, what's your position on AI just being used for everything?
Well, I mean, in recording it and the way they did it, it makes sense because it's just separating the tracks out from an unseparable track. Like I don't know if people realize that when you go into a studio, every single instrument's recorded individually. And for a lot of our live shows, we're just using one mic or two mics, and to get like a shot of the crowd from the crowd. So we can't go back and separate out those tracks. But now that there's this AI available, we could go back and separate out the tracks and separate the crowd noise and make it listenable if we had the time again. But
yeah, I mean, as a like position, as whether or not I think that's okay. I think if you're doing something in the studio, that's one thing because you're not playing live. Like Zach said, you'll go in there, you'll play the song together as a band to get the drums, and then you'll go back in, and then you'll record the guitar over the top of that. Then you'll record the piano over the top. That's how studio work is done. You're using all the tricks. So using AI in that capacity, sure. It's all studio magic anyway. But doing that for live performance, even in retrospect, it feels a little dirty to me. But smoke them if you got them. If people want to do that, then go for it. I don't care what you do.
We've had guests on the show too that have used AI to generate album covers. They pop in a couple things and they're using that for their album cover. But I think it probably depends on what you want to take on and what is less meaningful for you. As a musician, you might not care about the cover art, or you might not care about if as far as like standards, personal standards for recording. But it would be cool all of a sudden to see all these Ifdakar shows hit online. Also,
Yeah, I mean, I use the same kind of software to practice. When we're learning a cover song, I'll put it through AI to break out the tracks and so I can isolate that bass track and hear what they're actually playing.
Is it you're recording on one track, but AI is like pulling all the instruments?
Yeah, I put in like say we're wanting to learn a Fish song. I put that into this program and it pulls out it separates all the tracks, and then I can hear what Mike's playing. What his bass is playing, and it's like it's individual. And then you can go in, or you can put the keys out, or you can adjust the levels just like you would in the studio. So it's just another tool for us. In a way, it's just another tool for me to further my game.
Well, in 10 years, they'll just be able to AI clone you, Zach, and throw a hologram up there.
Good Lord.
Okay, you mentioned kids. I know your son Raul and Winter and Jada pretty well. John, your kids are they into music? Are they into the band?
Yeah, my My daughter Sierra has been. She's 22. She's going to be 23 in March. She's been coming to see us for.
She asked that excellent Ifdakar question. Was that her? Right?
Yeah.
Nice.
She's been coming to see us forever. She's super supportive. Her and my wife, like all of our, wives and families and things like that, always up at the front. But George, my 3-year-old, he plays. We play music together at home every day. Like he has guitars, he has ukuleles, he has drums set up in my office. All he wants to do is play music with Dada. It's insane. He doesn't want to watch people performing on the stage. He wants to be on the stage. Doesn't matter if we go to the zoo, he wants to crawl in. If we go to the aquarium, he wants to jump in. He doesn't want to be a spectator. It's amazing. He's 3. It's crazy. So, he's got that in him, and, Ralderai is much the same way, where they've been around it literally their entire lives, been around the band. And, the other day we had rehearsal. We practiced at my house, and all the guys came in, and George has something to say to each one of them, where, back a year ago he would hide and stuff, and, he's a little shy. But now he's like, I want to go downstairs and play drums. It's like, and asking Logan if he can play his piano, and, he's got something to say to everybody. There's a
lot of guitars down there for you to play, Zach.
Yeah, so he's got the music in him. It's really cool to see. It's different. It's a hell of a lot different than it was 10 years ago when we were much younger. And, kids running around concerts and rehearsals was not quite as prevalent as it is now. But to be able to fold in those parts of our lives that mean so much to us, to make those things connect and work, it really it helps the longevity, and it makes it really special, because if it didn't work, it wouldn't work. You know what I mean? Like, something would have to go, and it ain't going to be the kids.
Right? Well, when we played at the Bare Bones Brewery a couple of years ago, we were playing with Feed the Dog, and he had that extra percussion set up, and all of a sudden, next thing, I turn around, I hear these drums playing. I see Ralderai back there on the drums, on the percussion, and we're like, how did he get up here?
Yeah.
I noticed, John, you recently, it might have been like months ago, it seemed like you were kind of going through, I don't know, kind of a midlife look back. You're kind of checking out a lot of your past haunts, your schools, your living places, and writing about kind of your memories from there. What caused that reflective period in your life?
I don't know. I guess having George and being a dad it makes you more reflective. I'm sure you guys know that. Things for me, I've always been a pretty sensitive guy, but getting super sentimental about just, everyday things is pretty common these days. Like, you just kind of see the world through the eyes of a child and all that, and all those cliches. I had a friend when he had his first kid, Scott Fisher, and now he's got his 5th daughter on the way. So look out, world. But when they had their first girl, he texted me a couple days after and said, all the cliches that they tell you about fatherhood are true. And I didn't need anything more than that from him. I knew exactly what he was talking about. And it's such a prescient point. It's, all those things, you can't even describe how much you love your kids and stuff like that. Like, that's real. So feeling that kind of love within you, kind of, and it also touches on your own mortality and, the life you're going to leave for your kids and what are they going to remember and all that kind of stuff. It kind of just swells that sentimental feeling that I typically just live with every day because I'm kind of a sensitive guy. So I would imagine that, fatherhood is a big, reason for that. And I think in the new songs that I'm writing, at home by myself, kind of reflect that, where I used to write, it'd be kind of darker content, not death metal or anything like that, but just a little maybe sadder. But the lyrics that I find myself writing these days tend to be a little more positive, encouraging, and uplifting. And, that probably ties into that as well. And like any songwriter will tell you, you don't set out to write a certain type of lyric, or at least I don't. It just kind of comes out, and that's what's been coming out. And, I'm thankful for it. I'd rather be, happy and reflective than brooding and sullen. If I had to pick.
Well, so we kind of covered the shows coming up. I had notes here of the bands that were playing at the ice dance. Feed the Dog, Ifdakar, Timmy Mack, and Tyler Shea. We haven't really talked about Timmy Mack and Tyler Shea at all. What style are they, and what can people expect?
Sure. So Timmy Mack is the fiddler from the band leader from Feed the Dog. Tyler Shea was once in Feed the Dog. He's the renowned guitar player, lyricist, singer from Feed the Dog's original lineup.
Are they Feed the Talking Dog too, or what's that all
Feed
about?
the Talking Dog is
they're playing the ice dance.
Feed the Dog playing the Talking Heads set. And they
nice.
did that at Blue Ox this past summer, and it blew the roof off the place. Well, there is no roof, but so by popular demand, we're doing it again they're doing it again at Ice Dance. And so Timmy Mack and Tyler Shea, they are, of course, going to play probably some old school Feed the Dog. I don't know what their set is exactly, but I would imagine they'll be playing some old Feed the Dog tunes that Tyler used to sing and things like that. And, that should be a hell of a way to start that night. And then Feed the Dog will play the middle of the night, and then we'll take things into the late night. I would expect some sit-ins here and there, but again, I can't say anything more.
Timmy Mack, I think, just did something with Fox Menagerie. I don't know if you're familiar with.
Yeah.
He was, I think, fiddling on one of the
Yes.
songs, which I thought that the stuff Fox Menagerie is doing is amazing. I know it's just the amount of work that must go into to doing some of that writing.
Is that the Elton John deal, or was that something else?
I think that's something else.
Okay.
But like what the Fox Menagerie is they get together, and normally Joe Sly, he'll work on some of his originals, and then they'll do like a cover with a kind of a rotating cast.
Oh, cool.
But I know on the last one, I'm pretty sure Timmy Mack's playing, and they've got Shelby Keller on drums. It just turned out really good, so people should go, check out the Fox Menagerie YouTube page, and they're putting out a lot of new stuff. Do you guys kind of, if anybody ever reached out to you for doing a collaboration with Fox Menagerie, how do you guys feel like collaborating with other people?
I'd be up for it.
I'm game for anything, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to make that sound like I was trying to fight somebody.
Right.
But no, I'm open to anything. I'd love to play. It seems to me that I have more time than anyone else in the band, and I don't know how that's possible. But it seems like it's true. But we all do our best with the time we have.
Well, and speaking of time, we've got a couple minutes left. Where can people find out more about Ifdakar? And where can they, I know you mentioned at the top of the show, but first, how can they find more about Ifdakar? Then we'll get into specifics about next week.
We're on the interweb at ifdarkar.com. We're on the Facebooks and the X's or the Twitters or whatever you call it these days.
Yeah, probably.
They're very active over there.
Yeah, our most active social is definitely the Facebook, ifdakar.com. But for the other shows and, various irons in the fire, best place to probably go for that stuff is WeJam, WIJAM.net. That's got links to Moondance, Ice Dance, all the upcoming stuff. I try to update that as much as possible, and that kind of links into all the other stuff that we're doing.
Again, I'm behind on messages. Len Nelson, again, mentioned, he said Feed the Talking Dog at the Blue Ox is one of the most fun live experiences he's ever had. So
Boom. And you can see that at Ice Dance 24.
Yeah.
Get your tickets. And Ice Dance Music Fest pre-party, November 25th. Feed the Dog, Ifdakar, Timmy Mack, and Tyler Shea. Appleton Beer Factory. You can't go wrong. Do you guys have any parting words? Oh, and I want to mention as well, tomorrow we have a special episode of Fox Cities Core with mastering legend Justin Perkins. I had like a mind blank all of a sudden. So that's exciting. So tune in tomorrow for a special show. Parting words.
Parting words, I just want to reiterate, if you're in a band and you're looking to make some noise, make your own noise. Don't wait around for somebody else to hand you a gig. Build it yourself. They will come.